Well, hi everyone. Today I want to discuss time management for optimal health and fitness. We all know how important exercise and eating right is for our longevity, but let's remind ourselves of the benefits of exercise. All-cause mortality is delayed. There's decreased risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and some forms of cancer. We get improved weight management, reduced metabolic disease risk factors like high cholesterol, high blood pressure, visceral fat. We get increased bone mineral density, lean body mass, strength, endurance, and insulin sensitivity. Yet despite the overwhelming benefits, we know that only about 25% of men met both the resistance training and aerobic guidelines as set by the Center for Disease Control, the CDC. No time is the #1 excuse that people use to justify their lack of exercise. So how do busy people succeed at their health and fitness? To me, the answer involves improving in 3 areas, which we will define as our 3 sections today. They are why, how, and when. So in section 1, we'll cover knowing your why, which involves making and reinforcing the case for change. Why your health matters, what will happen if you improve, what will happen if you don't. And then in section 2, we'll go over creating what I call unbreakable habits and moving past motivation into self-discipline. And then finally, in section 3, we'll spend the majority of our time discussing how to use and plan your time efficiently. The old adage that time is money isn't necessarily accurate. Time is way more valuable and more scarce than money, and yet most of us are likely to waste tons of time. In my opinion, in order to optimize your health and fitness, you can't do one without mastery of the other two. You need to master all 3: why, how, and when. So let's not waste any time and let's get started. In section 1, let's cover knowing your why. Why do you need, not want, but need to be healthy and fit? A clear sense of purpose enables you to focus your efforts on what matters the most. Ask yourself, what's the reason that you need to be healthier and stay healthy? Who's depending on you as if to be in the best shape of your life? And let's be honest, if you don't know why you're doing something, then why would you keep doing it, especially when it gets challenging? Know your why by getting specific and crystal clear on your reason for being fit. Instead of, I want to lose weight, which is vague, think about why. Does diabetes run in your family? Do you want the vitality to keep up with your kids or grandkids? Do you want more self-confidence? Make a clear focal point with a sense of high importance and urgency. If your why isn't strong enough, then your self-discipline might not be either. So that's step 1. Now moving into section 2, let's discuss how to modify your mindset from motivation into unbreakable habits. Motivation can be great. It will give you the start. But if you rely on motivation to keep you going, it's likely that you'll come up short against your goals. This is because motivation is momentary and fleeting. Motivation is doing what needs to be done when you want to do it, and discipline is doing what needs to be done when you don't want to do it. Discipline is the ability to take action irrespective of your emotional condition. It involves giving up pleasure found in the now for contentment of the later. Today's work is for tomorrow's gains. Self-discipline is vital for leadership, for health, and for all other pursuits. I sometimes think about 2 versions of me, current me and future me. I saved or deferred my salary with discipline in my 401k for future Brett. I drive to the gym and lift despite the lack of motivation sometimes for future Brett. So future Brett is one lucky guy because of current Brett's self-discipline. So what are the ingredients for unbreakable habits? I personally believe there are 4. Information, so this means learning from Will and me and others about body recomposition, longevity, all that stuff that we talk about. Number 2, implementation. So this means take the information and practice and perfect and ask questions and revise. Then third step is consistency. So this just means do the hard and sometimes boring work over and over and over again. And then number 4 is develop discipline. And this, like we just talked about, really relies on knowing your why. I love a video post on Instagram and also on YouTube created by Arnold Schwarzenegger discussing his unbreakable fitness habit. And someone asked him, why does he continue going to the gym at age 75? And his response was amazing. Um, for the same reason I'm having breakfast, he said. I ate breakfast 10 years ago. I ate breakfast this morning. And then he went on to say, why am I still sleeping? I slept 10 years ago. I slept yesterday. It's that simple. Training is part of my life. It's rooted in who I am. Nothing will change until I die. It's truly an inspiring message, and I might actually try and find it and post it after our Zoom video, because it's really cool to hear his thick Austrian accent. So now let's spend the remainder of our time in section 3, learning to optimize our time, being more productive, and making time for our health and fitness pursuits. So let's first list out some of the common behavior barriers. They include procrastination, allowing distractions, poor prioritization, inability to say no, being disorganized, and lacking self-discipline. These barriers are attacked with effective time management strategies. Time management is what separates successful people from people who fail at their goals. I read up on the typical day for 2 of the busiest, most successful entrepreneurs in the world, Mr. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple since 2011, and Mr. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter. Tim's typical day looks like this. Early riser about 3:45 a.m., gym first at 5 a.m. for 45 minutes, and he takes his fitness very seriously. He finds time some afternoons and most weekends for bicycling and hiking, and he's in bed by 8:45, and this affords him 7 hours of sleep. What's a big takeaway here? Spend your time on activities that really matter, both professionally and personally. Now let's look at Elon's typical day. And by the way, Elon is known to work up to 120 hours a week, which is completely insane, as I think there's only about 140 or 150 hours counting the sleep. So he's a 7 a.m. riser. He's a big fan of what's called time blocking. So what he does is he plans his day out in 5-minute increments. He does find time to exercise just a couple times a week. And what he states is there's no time blocks are left unscheduled and no time wasters are tolerated. And then he gets himself to bed by 1 a.m. So he allows himself 6 hours of sleep. So Elon is less focused on exercise than Tim or we are. And really, I think Elon should consider hiring Will for body recomp. But the takeaway with Elon's schedule is he maximizes and saves time with highly focused time management techniques. So next, let's go through the top advice to maximize our time. Number 1, schedule exercise around your peak performance times. And this will vary by person. Are you a 5 a.m. gym goer? Tim Cook is. I am not. So figure out what works best for you. If it's over the lunch hour or some odd afternoon period or after work or in the evening, you can decide what is going to make you work out the most. Number 2, get away from distractions. And this is stuff like Instagram notifications, news feeds, TV running in the background. A study from the University of California showed that it takes almost 30 minutes to refocus after you get distracted. So take 30 minutes times several distractions and you've lost several hours of your time. Number 3, digitize your life. So this includes ideas like buying online groceries or doing mobile banking app, stuff like that. Number 4, prepare your day in advance. So this includes the day, the week, and the month even. So program your workout days onto a visual calendar. Number 5, learn to say no. Saying yes to friends and to every work project that comes along seems easy and may end up helping you build some good social relationships, but it can lead to burnout and time wasting. Number 6, audit and track your time. This is extremely analogous to tracking your food. And you don't need to do it all the time, but it's a really valuable exercise to do for a little bit so you understand. Tracking your time is one of the best ways to save time because you're going to quickly know where you're wasting time. Number 7, organize your day into time blocks. So create yourself a visual schedule, use colors, and dedicate, time blocks to exercise and respect it like you would, like you're going to a doctor's appointment. And as I thought about time blocks, it occurred to me, I think I'm actually doing this because I dug out like a schedule that I created. I don't know if it's going to show very well. I went to Italy a couple years ago, and basically I time blocked out, the trains and the tours and the dinner reservations, and it allowed you to know when you're going to be where and what your free time is and what that looks like. So it is very, very effective. The last set of gems are more specific to fitness, and they are gathered from a few experts, and I'll name them. First is Alan Aragon. He's the GOAT of fitness and nutrition research. An elite trainer friend of mine, Anna Wilson, and from Coach Will, as well as things I do and have heard from some of our other program graduates. Will's gems include 1, consider prepared meals. This could save considerable amount of time with grocery shopping and meal preparation. He also said the other day to make a simple morning checklist and place it where you will see it first thing in the morning. Alan's gem, which he gave to me yesterday, he said, protein powder is a great tool for combining convenience and nutritive value, and the scoop never changes, so it's a permanently controlled variable outside of your effort. And then Anna's gem for time management is this. It's important to give ourselves margins throughout our day and our week. We don't need and shouldn't be filling up every line like Elon Musk. Calendar margins will actually yield more mental energy for things that matter the most. And then last but not least, some of our graduates shared with us some pretty neat ideas as well, and they might help you. One is try and get up earlier. And this is from one of our graduates named Isaac. He was a busy 40-year-old father and husband who reset his schedule and got to the gym earlier, and he made phenomenal results by doing that. One of Lester's tips is join the most convenient gym, and even convenient parking matters depending on where you live and what that looks like. And then a couple things for me, I always say, always prepare your gym bag as well as your post-workout snacks and have these in your car every morning. So, you'll have them on board and they'll be there when you need them. Now, I would like to end with an inspiring story and a challenge for you, and then also end with my closing quote. The story is called "But Put the Big Rocks In First," and this comes from theartofmanliness.com, which features podcasts and articles for actionable advice. The presenter said, "We often feel really busy, but yet we didn't get anything done." And then he demonstrated what that looks like with a glass container. He said, "This jar represents your schedule or your calendar or your life. We start our day with Instagram and news feeds and have the TV running. And at this point, he pours a bunch of water in the glass container." And then he said, "Next, we turn to menial time wasters like scrolling through unimportant email and surfing the internet. And then he pours in a bunch of sand in the container. Now we answer work emails that could easily be handled with a phone call, but they chew up a lot of our time unnecessarily, very inefficiently." And then he adds a bunch of gravel to the container. And then his conclusion, perfectly demonstrated visually, is now you're trying to plan your big stuff: family, exercise, spirituality, classes, whatever it might be. You can try and cram it into your schedule and you realize there's no room. These are the big rocks. But with a little bit of rearrangement and prioritization, you can do it. So then he proceeds to demonstrate by starting with the big rocks. So the challenge for you guys, and for me too, because I'm guilty of this myself, is put the most important things on your calendar first, the big rocks. Next, fill in the tasks that are less important, and then plan your mindless and fun stuff after you have planned and executed your big rocks. Now try this out and see if it helps you. I think it's a great idea for us. And then finally, to conclude, I chose to quote Mr. Benjamin Franklin regarding the topic of time management, who famously stated, "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail." And that really is saying that your inaction is an intentional action. So anyways, I just wanted to thank you guys very much. And I would like to open it up for a conversation if anyone has any comments.
The only comment I have, Brett, is that the material was great. And it gave me pause several times. So definitely appreciate you putting this together and presenting it in such a cohesive format. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you very much for that feedback. What I'll do is I'll record this, save it onto our app or send it to Will. And I do want to send along the YouTubes from Arnold Schwarzenegger and from the Big Rocks, because I think they're really pretty potent. But thank you for that feedback. And thanks everybody for your time. And we'll talk again soon.
Great. Thank you.